Hello, everyone. Welcome into Above My Pay Grade. My name is Eric. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button, hit subscribe. Really helps out the channel. Now, um, sorry, I'm out of breath. Just chasing down my dog. Um, the public school system. A lot of us have experience with it, whether that be going to public school or sending our kids to public school. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of options if you're not super wealthy because the government extorts money out of you to pay for their one size fits all education system. And you may differ in opinion to me on this issue, but I think the answer to a lot of problems uh, is school choice. Because if the government's going to extort the money out of you anyways, it might as well be able to take that money and put it to a school that I choose instead of one that's in my vicinity in the public school system. And it's precisely the government's one size fits all policy and their top down kind of authoritarian way of doing education that spawned these charter schools because it's the regulation that people wanted out of. And yet the government says, well, you still have to pay property tax. So um, people tried to figure out a way to work around the system and they started charter schools, which I think is great. School choice is absolutely amazing. It implements more competition, which I think is good. Now, who do you think might be against competition? Think long and hard about this. Oh, wait, yes, it's the teachers' unions. Teachers' unions who donate quite a bit of money to politicians, specifically Democrats. They don't like the competition. And they have all these reasons why they. Oh, there's my dog again. They have all these reasons why they don't like charter schools. Um, but it really comes down to hey, we have people in the market who want more choice because you're extorting money out of them. And as a taxpayer, want to go, hey, I don't want to pay property taxes for schools. I prefer to homeschool my children or send them to a charter school or a private school. Can I have that money? No, you cannot. Same thing with Social Security. If it's a program for you, why can't you opt out? If it's a program for your children, why can't you opt out? Um, anyways, it's obviously a very powerful lobby. And the Democrats wanted to implement more regulations on charter schools, which is precisely the reason schools were started. So let's take a look at this article here from the Washington Examiner that kind of lays out what they wanted to do. So the Senate rejects effort to cancel Biden's charter school rule planned as burdensome. So Biden wants more regulation on charter schools because they're able to pivot a lot more. They're able to customize education a lot more easier than public schools do. However, where do you think this is actually coming from? It's coming from donors, specifically teachers' unions, who don't like competition. I Give me one good reason why more schools would be a bad thing, more competition would be a bad thing. I'm in favor of abolishing Department of Education altogether. But if we have to meet in the middle, what's wrong with school choice? Imagine the single mom in a poorer area who has to work multiple jobs, and the school in her area isn't that great. So she's forced to make a decision. She can't move. She can't afford it. Um, Potentially, it's high crime in the area, so there's not a lot of business. There's not a lot of opportunity for her child to get ahead in that area. And so school choice is one of the few options she has to put good people that she chooses around her child, good role models around her child. And if the school in her area sucks, that's what teachers unions want. One option. Okay, so the Senate rejected a resolution on Wednesday along party lines. Big surprise. Everything's along party lines these days. So, isn't that great? Okay. And sought to repeal a recently finalized Department of Education rule restricting the disbursement of funds for federal charter school program. So these charter schools basically take this money and they uh, don't have to follow the same. I actually don't know why or how, but they found a legal reason to get federal funding and work their way around some of the regulations of the Department of Education that let's just put it this way. As Milton Friedman says, it doesn't really matter what people's intentions are, it matters what the results are. So you should judge people based off the results, not their intentions. So even if people are well intentioned in the Department of Education, what does our education system look like? How do we compare to other countries? You guys can Google that, but I'm pretty sure you know. The resolution, which invoked the Congressional Review Act in a bid to overturn the regulation, failed 49 to 49 on party lines, with all Democrats opposing the measure, despite the fact that several Democrat senators have expressed concerns about the regulations when they were proposed earlier this year. So, Democrats in my state opposed it, and yet they voted for it, which is just that's what you got to do in Washington, I guess. 68% of Democrats, 67% of independents, 68% of African Americans, and 72% of Hispanics agree with some form of school choice, Scott said. I mean, how can you not? Competition is a good thing. This is simply a public charter school issue, stopping the Biden administration from destroying one of the most important vehicles for human prosperity for kids around our country. So my question is, and yes, this is a mostly macroeconomics channel, but I think a lot of the problems we see in our country have to do with this taxing system, right? Because if you were given the choice, the cool thing about capitalism, which we're not a capitalist country, but we can move the ball that direction. Cool thing about capitalism is you can vote every day. You vote with your money. So if the school sucks, you don't like it, go to a different school. But we're extorted by paying property tax, and we're supposed to fund people that we maybe disagree with their values, and I'm not going to get into it too much, but a lot of schools are teaching values that a lot of people disagree with, including myself, right? And you should have that option to not pay those people with your property tax. Now, a lot of people say, well, you have the option to not live there. Not everybody does have that option, right? And it really isn't that simple for many, many people. So I think one of the biggest civil rights issues, biggest freedom issues of our day is school choice. If we're not going to abolish the Department of Education, we need to have people who have bad options for schools to be able to go outside their local area and pick the best schools and opportunities for their kids. Education is really important, a lot of people say, and I would agree. But the quality of that education matters a whole bunch. And it all comes down to taxes, property taxes, and money, and teachers' unions, which is mildly sad. But let me know what you guys have experience in public schools. If you have a good public school around your area, if you go to a charter school, if your kids go to charter school, and what your experience is. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.